So, speaking of McLaren, we got a much clearer picture this last week on exactly what they got wrong and why. Well, not necessarily why they're slow, but why we're waiting for this entirely B-Spec car.
Nicole and Briana are lined up on the grid. It's lights out, and away we go. This week's grid walk.
And apparently it's because, so the regulations changed to combat porpoising. The floors had to be raised to 15 millimeters. And apparently McLaren just got it so wrong. Like, they got their floor design so wrong, they realized they were heading down a path with little to no performance. And so it was the floor. And this floor edge regulation change that they didn't properly adapt to. And that is why they basically just had to hit exit on their entire design plans and completely start over. But
I just feel like I don't know how long it takes to realize that, but I feel like they realized it so late. And I'm also just want to scream, they got everything wrong. But that's my emotional Daniel Ricciardo soapbox that I have to acknowledge every single week.
Yeah, will there be a week without talking about Danny Rick?
No.
We'll never know.
No, I'll tell you now. The world will know because my answer is no.
But I mean, it's not super far off. I will always find it very interesting, speaking of PR, a team that's very good at it in McLaren, that they keep chucking their poor performance up to very specific things. It's, oh, we don't have our new wind tunnel yet. Oh, we just got the floor edge raise wrong. Oh, it's like always these like very specific things. But to your point, like there is definitely a more collective issue. Like they had reliability problems, and so they couldn't do a full testing program. They couldn't bring the car they wanted to the track. They seem to have some general aerodynamic issues in their aerodynamic department, which is why I do think it's interesting that they're rumored to bring on some Ferrari designers. And then, so it definitely seems bigger and more collective. And the more and more we look back at 2020, which is I think when they finished P3 when Carlos was in the team, is seeming more and more like a fluke and not more and more like a team on the upswing. Just because like it can't just be one. Like none of this is individual, to your point. Like how do you just get the floor wrong or figure out the floor? So like every part of the car works together. So you got the concept wrong. You didn't just get the floor wrong. Now, to be fair to them, they are saying that they got the concept wrong because of the change in regulations about the floor edges. But it's just, it seems like a bigger, more systemic McLaren issue. And I think it's time we all acknowledge that.
I don't think the floor is like their one thing. I mean, Oscar didn't DNF last week because of the floor. But
Lando didn't have 5 or 6 pit stops to like repump air into something because of the floor. Yeah, there's some general operations issues right now.
Yeah, it kind of seems like everyone's working a little bit all over the place from like an administrative perspective, from just like a tech perspective. It kind of just seems like everyone's working towards like a different mission, or it's just all not coming together trying to achieve the same thing. So it just kind of seems like there's things going all over the place, which is why before we even saw any car from them, they were like upgrades, and we're like, oh cool, okay, we didn't ask, but I'm glad that's like that's super cool that we just heard the heartbeat of the car for the first time, and you're like, upgrades. Like
one of my favorite things about F1 is that they insist on calling the sound of the engine the heartbeat. I just find it so corny in like the best way possible, like a good corny.
Yeah, I mean, Ferrari 2 seconds before we saw the car literally on track, they're like, here's this beautiful graphic, and it's the heartbeat of the car, and it's so beautiful. Like, it's so very funny. But yeah, no, McLaren needs like a whole regroup. I feel like they need to go on like a team retreat, and like everyone needs to do like some trust falls and like some communicating something. Yeah, like there needs to be like an all weekend, like everyone like step over the line if like type of like bonding activities, because it just does not seem like there's a coherent anything going on with McLaren right now.
they keep saying, so that we have the Saudi Arabian GP, then we have the Australian GP, and then we don't have the Chinese GP. So the fourth GP is Baku this year. And I'm pretty sure there are like B-Spec cars coming there, which is pretty quick, which just shows how early in the off-season they identified that this is a problem. And it is always better that they've identified the problem and have a plan to fix it that is only theoretically costing them 3 races in all of testing. But I'm curious what the goal is and what their global plan is to fix it right now. Because I think they've communicated publicly their more immediate plans of, we have this B-Spec car coming and we have the wind tunnel coming online. But what is the big picture plan? Because F1's a team sport. It's all about people. So I'm going to be really intrigued if and who they bring onto the team, specifically in the aerodynamic department over the next couple of years, because I don't think until we start getting some big, more collective hires that we're going to see a big change in performance.
So we want to give a big thank you, as always, to Voiceover Man. Shout out to Unlimited Drink Packages Royal Caribbean, you're the bomb, and our 4-legged executive producers. Make sure you turn on auto downloads wherever you are listening to the pod. Leave us a rating. Please leave us a review. It really, really helps us out. Shout out to all of our friends on Apple Podcasts where you're listening. Pretty please let us know what you think, what you like, what you'd like to see us try out. We really, really appreciate the feedback. Make sure you follow us on any of the social media platforms that you like to use. We are at Gridwalk Show, absolutely everywhere, and we are always giving you some daily grid walks. But we will be back every Thursday, and we seriously hope that you join us. Today felt like we just completely missed the grid walk because we were just too